favorite podcast of all time, CCP Podcasting. Check them out.
What is happening, friends of CCP Podcasting? Welcome to this Tuesday night. It is the 6th of January, our third episode of Beyond the Bell for our 2026. I am Chris Page. Hope you're having a great start to your week. Like I said, we're Tuesday. Tomorrow's hump day, so we're halfway there, right? Friday is right around the corner. I'm not sure what you guys have planned all week, but before we get into today's show, let me just give you a little rundown of what we got happening here. Tomorrow night, we'll be sitting down with Matthias out of Southern California. SoCal Pro's World Heavyweight Champion, actually. Thursday night, we got a watch party for Millennium Pro Wrestling. Friday, the Lone Star Spotlight with our man Chris Chaos and our boy JB from No Game Unturned. We'll be back here live. We're going to be looking at the 8th day. And then Saturday, of course, I'm out of pockets, guys, because I'll be in Castleberry, Florida, doing some announcing. That is what's coming up here. And then outside of that, of course, you guys know, January 31st, right around the corner. Chapter 2, Next Level. It is going to be a happening. We've got 9 big matches on deck. I've already announced 7. I have 2 more that I've got left for you guys that I can't wait to drop on you over the next week or so. And one of them is going to drop. Your jaw's going to drop. I'm just going to tell you that right here, right now. Listen, before we get into today's show, shout out to you, Goth. I see you over on Twitch. Shout out to Shannon. I see you on Twitch. If you're watching live on Twitch, hello. If you're over on X, hope you're doing well. YouTube, I'm sorry, we're still in jail until Friday. When we get out of YouTube jail, we'll be back live there as well. So if you're catching us on replay, I'm sorry. This is probably 4 or 5 days old at this point. Our guest. I love these conversations because we always find ways to connect with different people, and we don't know how that happens. And with our guest tonight, I always say that everybody's job in professional wrestling is crucial, from your in-ring talent to your referees, to your color commentators, to your play-by-play guys, and more importantly, your ring announcers, because your ring announcers are the ones who are setting the pace and setting the tone and setting the energy level, if you will. And our guest today has all of this in spades. I had a chance to really come across him through the House of Champions, and from there, I've been watching from a distance. I see Buddy making debuts at Atomic Legacy Wrestling in Florida. I see him doing a couple other things in a couple other places here and there, and I need to sit down and talk to him. I had the opportunity to meet him face-to-face at Legacy for the House of Champions for the first time and say hello, shake his hand, tell him how much I appreciate him and how much I wanted to talk to him on the show. We've got him here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, please welcome to the show, Mr. Matthew Lloyd. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just great, especially after such a wonderful introduction. So many kind words that I'm really not used to. I really got to thank you for that. I'm doing just great. I've had a wonderful day. I've had a wonderful week. I don't know if you knew this or if your audience knew this. Certainly not. I don't know why they would. But yesterday, January 5th, was actually my 22nd birthday.
That is
so
right.
I am. I'm freshly 22, just like Taylor Swift said. I'm feeling 22. And my Gen Z audience is cringing right now that I just said that. But yeah, no, I'm feeling just fine, and I'm really excited to be sitting down with you finally.
Happy belated birthday, sir. How does it feel?
Thank you.
You know, hearing you say I'm 22, brother.
Yeah.
I got you by 2. Almost.
So man.
Just to be that young again. Back when I was 22, brother, I was still in the ring. I was still working.
You know, I hear that stuff a lot. I hang out with a lot of old people, and
thanks, man.
What am I talking about? And no, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about this veterans group that I'm in called RWB. That's actually what I was doing earlier tonight. That's why this podcast had to be rescheduled a little bit because they wanted to see me. These are all folks who have served their time in the military. They're all in their 60s, 70s, some of them even in their 80s. And they say a lot of the same stuff. They say, Matt, you know, if I were your age again, I would have done this, this, and this. You know, I would have done these things differently. You know, the wisdom that I have now in my later years. Here, I'm just gonna dump it all on you now that you're 20, 21, 22, however old. So, you know, I get that stuff a lot, and it's encouraging for me because, you know, I think, like, what am I doing? Is what I'm doing so special? Is wrestling so special? Is it special for me to be doing it at my young age? And many others have encouraged me in the fact that, yeah, I think it kind of is. I think it is something different that not every 20-something-year-old does, So in that respect, I'm very happy to be at the stage that I'm at in terms of age, in terms of wrestling, all that.
You've had
so that's my long-winded way of saying it feels good to be 22.
I wish I was there, brother. I wish I was back there. Because I saw a quote the other day. Not a quote, it was a clip, and it was from God, what is the name of the show? I can't even think of it now. The name of the show slips my mind. Oh,
don't you hate
The
that?
Office. It was The Office, actually.
You forgot the name of The Office?
I did.
Oh, man.
I blanked on it, and I also don't know who Jason Sudeikis' character was by name right now. But it's that clip where it's like, hey,
I don't know that guy.
When I wish we knew that, we were living in the glory days when we were living, something like that. It was something to the effect of,
oh, that's Andy.
Andy, yeah.
That's Andy, yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Andy Bernard.
I can resonate with that statement now. Like, I totally can. Like, the glory days.
And I think, yeah. And I absolutely think that part of the message from at least that episode is just, cherish the moment that you're in while you're in it, right?
Facts.
In fact, we have a shared interest in a particular rock band called Rush.
Oh, yes,
right?
we do. Yes, we do.
You've heard the song "Time Stands Still."
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
That's the same exact message, and I'm not gonna bore your audience with the nuances of that wonderful song. But hey, if you're listening,
first of all,
and oh boy,
Rush freaking rules. I almost dropped the F.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I know they do. They're amazing.
If anybody has any objection to us talking a little Rush, get off my channel. Like, there's where we're at with that. Like, this is
we got more important fish to fry, and one of those things is Rush. All right, Rush is a very important topic here, because we're not just talking about any old Rush band, or excuse me, Rush band. We're not just talking about any old rock band.
No.
We're not talking about some even just a prog rock band. We're talking about the best of the best.
We're talking about the goats, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
2112, baby. That was.
Yeah.
That was my album.
Yeah,
that was my album growing up. That was the first album. I'm going to tell you something. This is why I have such a connection to Rush. Here's my story. The first album, when I was a kid, like, this is, again, we're going back to the mid-'80s. Turntables were still a thing. The first album that I stumbled across in my parents' library was that album. And it was the first record that I put on. Now, keep in mind,
What way to start?
I didn't discover vinyl until the mid-'90s. So it was just chilling downstairs with all the vinyl for God knows how long. But when I just I figured out I asked my parents, like, what is this? What is the turn? What is this? And they would just pick something, and I'm gonna show you. That was the album I picked, and then I listened to the entire thing, and I had to have been probably 10 years old. Probably. 10.
Oh my God, 10 years old and listening to 2112. That's got to be like a mind-blowing experience. There's a word that I want to use that I'm not going to use for this, sake of your audience, but a mind freak, if you get what I mean. That's just a mind-blowing thing. I can't even imagine that at 10. I was listening to all right. So when I was 10, I don't even know what I was listening to. I was listening to garbage. I don't even know what. It doesn't matter. I got into Led Zeppelin when I was about 12 or 13, and that was more my speed for a long time. And I specifically remember one of the one of the dads at in my scout troop. He went, "Matt, if you like drumming," because he knew I was a drummer, and that's my thing. I'm a drummer, so obviously Neil Peart's the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
But at age 12, I didn't know that, and I thought John Bonham was the king, and he's great. Obviously, he's one of the greatest. But this dad said, "Matt, if you like drumming, then you gotta get into Rush. All right, Neil Peart is the greatest ever." And I pushed it aside. I said, "No, what are you talking about? He was better than John Bonham. What do you mean?" Little did I know that like 10 short years later, I'd be one of the top Rush fans in the country, according to Apple Music.
I am not mad at you for that at all, like at all. I think that is it's kind of interesting because the comparison of professional wrestling. Oh, excuse me, let me go over to chat real quick. Goth from the Netherlands says you can't go wrong with Rush or Zeppelin. So yeah, there you go. That take that
Right
from the overseas audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's both between professional wrestling and music and drumming, and it's all performing. It's all being in front of people.
Yeah.
So your draw to entertainment really kind of goes back further than professional wrestling. Let's talk a little bit about that before we get into kind of what's been going on and where you've gotten to where you've gotten to. Where does your I usually ask guys where does their love for professional wrestling start, but where does your love for just like maybe getting into the entertainment side of things start for you? Because just curious.
I don't know. I don't know where it came from. I think if you ask my mom, who's right outside this door, she could probably tell you a whole lot more about it. Because she is a really, really good communicator. She majored in public speaking majored in communication actually, and got her master's in communication. She taught public speaking at a public university for a number of years. She taught me public speaking from a very young age, and so I just kind of grew up with this really strong foundation in speaking, and being in front of audiences, and talking to people just in general. So it where did it start? I mean, birth is pretty much where it started. So it's hard to pinpoint an exact spot, but I always tell this story because it blows my mind still. Now that I'm in the position that I'm in, about when I was maybe 10 or 11, 12, something like that, I was a young wrestling fan, and everyone when they're a wrestling fan, they think like, oh, I want to grow up, I want to be a wrestler, I want to do all the moves, and I want to, I'm gonna beat up my teddy bear and all that stuff, and I did some of that too, right? But I knew what I was about. When my parents would be upstairs, watching whatever on TV sometime at night, I'd have school in the morning. Maybe I should have been getting to bed a little bit earlier, but no, I'd be downstairs in the basement reading off cards just like this one, and reading the stuff that I heard Justin Roberts say on WWE, because at the time he was still their announcer. And so from a very young age, I not only knew who one of my idols was in that regard, but I also knew that there was something special about the ring announcer. There's something very special, at least to me, about being in the ring, being the guy with the microphone, and not just like a character, but being the narrator. There was something special about that I didn't really understand when I was 10, but I do now. And so it's kind of a full circle moment where at such a young age, at the very root of my time as a professional wrestling fan, I knew that announcing was the way. It didn't manifest itself until I was 20 years old, but I knew what I was about, man. I knew the path forward at such a young age. It just didn't really manifest itself until years later.
Well, let's talk about that. How do you get into taking I'm going to word the question correctly, taking that step into making that announcing thing a more permanent situation? I guess, how do you get to the Hawk, or what are your road to?
So the beginning of my time as an announcer is it's a tough conversation for me, because I started at some place that it wasn't great. Okay. It wasn't great. I didn't feel like I was going anywhere, and I wasn't. Just to be clear, I wasn't really doing much there. It was a low energy environment, low enthusiasm. I didn't feel very encouraged in what I did, for the most part, and I got some small gigs here and there outside of this particular environment. But at about the 1 year anniversary of me starting to host these events, starting to announce, I got connected with the wonderful ring crew guys at Atomic Legacy Wrestling, and I just decided to help set up the ring because that's just that's just what I do. I love helping to set up the ring. It's just who I am. So I was helping them set up the ring, and it occurred to them that I was one of the only guys on this show that I was at. It wasn't an ALW show. It was a different show that they were just supplying the ring for. I was the only guy from this promotion who's actually setting up the ring, and I'm an announcer. I'm not a who am I? I'm not a wrestler, right? So usually it's a lot of the wrestlers who help set up the ring, but I stood out in that regard. So they invited me to some of their shows. I got connected with their owner, and eventually I made my way into debuting with ALW. Now, you asked about the Hawk. See, I really love the Hawk because I've seen the very bottom of the barrel in regards to wrestling schools. I've seen the very lowest of the low, and with the House of Champions, I feel like I'm getting a glimpse of the very height of wrestling schools, at least in the Florida area. That's personally my opinion. I think that the Hawk is the finest. And so it was at ALW that I first got connected with Jamie Stanley, the owner of House of Champions. He put me on with Kakoa, who I know you know very well, and just through some light conversations here and there, we eventually got to talking about maybe having me announce their events. And I think I've done rather well there. I think they enjoy having me. At least I hope. Fingers crossed. And I've been really blessed to be with them. Truly, they are a blessing to me, especially given everything that I've gone through as an announcer. It's a blessing to be with such a wonderful group of faith-based, very enthusiastic, high energy, loving, and encouraging people at the HOC.
Well, see, I had my information was a little wrong there, but I didn't know that you started with Atomic first. So we'll pivot there because I like the journey that you took to get there. So, like, I never like to hear when people aren't having the best of times, right? Because professional wrestling is supposed to be fun, and it is very fun when you're in the right environment, right? Like. And there have been plenty of guys that got discouraged, and you have two options at that point. You can either say, F this, I'm done, I'm going to go find something else to do, or you can, okay, let me find what works for me and how that works. Yeah. And then the fact that you got noticed by your work, by physical work, not the skills that you have on the microphone, which we're going to get to because they're tremendous. The attitude of how can I help? How can I? And that's kind of, and I resonate with that because that's kind of like my mentality when it comes to this platform and with any company or any talent or anybody that comes to me and says, "Hey, can I do this or can you do that? How can I help you?" Like that's my immediate thing. Is like that's just it, and you took this opportunity to bust your butt, get noticed, and now you're walking through this door. You didn't quit, and now look at what has happened in the time frame since then.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you had you had that road. You could have said nope, but you did not, and thankfully you didn't.
And I'll be honest with you, I was close. There was a point around February of 2025 where I was thinking to myself, this sucks. This really, really sucks. This promotion that I was at, not even going to get into it. I just got done with the show that night, and I sat down in my car after their show, and I just said, this blows. this really blows. I don't know how much longer I want to do this. I know I'm new. I know there's still so much more to learn, so much more to do, but this sucks. But for some reason, well, not for some reason, it was for very obvious reasons in my head. I decided not to not to give up on the dream, because I felt that chasing the dream, betting on myself for once, was a worthwhile venture, and that's the gamble I've been making since pretty much since then, even before then, since yeah, since very very early on in my career. I mean, I've just been gambling on betting on myself, and that journey's taken me pretty far. It's been a good gamble so far.
I was 42 before I decided to bet on myself, and that was about a year ago. Well, I mean, I'm 42 now, about to turn 43 in September. So I guess it's been a little over a year that I was like, man, F this. This is what I want to do. And I know that, so how do I get there? How do I make this a full-time thing? How do I, how can, we got to do this in phases. We got to do this in steps. Yes, still working. I still have a shoot job. I work in the real world. But how do we get here? You know what I mean? And it's sticking to that. And, if you're with me, fantastic. Mm-hmm. If you're not, no problem. Have a good day. My eyes on the prize. Yeah. And for you, when you do get into Atomic Legacy, did you come in as ring announcing, or like what was your road like to get to that point?
So I was at Ultimate Champion Promotions, where I met the ALW crew. Pretty much, Ultimate Champion Promotions is this little tiny promotion. They do maybe one show a year. I think they did. I've done 2 shows with them, and that was the last 2 shows that they've done, and one in 2024, one in 2025. So I don't know. Maybe I'll see them back in 2026. Who knows? But anyway, they took their ring from Atomic Legacy Wrestling. Mm-hmm. And so I got connected through that with the owner of ALW, or at least one of them, Jason Dugan, and the guys who took care of the ring. I don't know if Roll, Big Mike, Cam, Sherry, I don't know if all of them are listening, but hi guys. They took me under their wing and invited me into ALW. Jason Dugan was very gracious. He wanted me to be his guy. He wanted me to to come in and be his announcer, because he was able to see at that show, Ultimate Champion Promotions, how I am as a host, as an MC, as an announcer. And so at the beginning it was kind of rough, because ALW had an announcer. They had this one gentleman who did just a fine job. So I was thinking to myself, well, guess I'll just do ring crew for a little bit. And I did. And I loved ring crew. It was great. I had no problems with just doing ring crew for a little bit, because I was just happy to be there. I mean, my first ALW show, I met Kevin Nash and Kurt Angle. And I had a great time meeting them and talking to them. They were awesome. And I met so many other great people. And I wasn't the announcer that day. I was just happy to be there. Happy to be on ring crew. And I thank Jason Dugan for the opportunity to be there. I thank Roland and Mike and all of them who helped me get there. But after a couple shows, I did a you ever heard of like a mall show? Mm-hmm. Like literally just a little tiny show at a mall.
Yeah.
Well,
yep. Been there.
We did a mall show. Yeah, we did a mall show. This is the I think the Space Coast MallCon or Comic-Con or something like that. I don't know. It was some little tiny thing where they were selling comics and selling this and that. A ton of vendors out there. But the main attraction, obviously, because what else are you gonna look at, is the big wrestling ring in the middle, and the wrestlers and the announcer and all the stuff. And I was the announcer for that show, and that was my first time with ALW, first time doing anything with ALW, and the ownership apparently, I'm not going to speak for them, but apparently they saw something in me that said, hey, maybe we should give this guy a shot. So the next month, I got a call from Alex Red, or a text from Alex Red, the owner, and said, hey, might need you for this show in May. And so Went off and did my first show with ALW, and that was, I think, We Wear the Crown was the event. Yeah, it might have been. I think it was We Wear the Crown, which actually got pushed back to June. But either way, it was a great show. It was a great time, and ever since then, I have taken a really strong liking to the people at Atomic Legacy Wrestling. I mean, everyone there, the workers, the wrestlers, all the referees that we have, great referees. The guys on commentary. One of my favorite people in the world, Promo Pete. I don't know if you've ever had him on, but you definitely should because he's awesome. And just a number of others who have made my life very, very bright through ALW. So it's been a very short journey. It's been less than a year. It's been less than a year since I started with ALW. Mm-hmm. But that year has been jam-packed, like packed to the brim with memories and things that I will never, ever forget. And I don't think I'd get that anywhere else, period. I really don't. I mean, there are other great promotions and companies out there in Florida, but ALW has long-lasting memories. For me, anyway.
Well, I was about to say, like, I here's one thing that comes to mind just off of Atomic Legacy. I saw not too long ago you had posted several pictures throughout 2025, and what do we see, or what did I see? You in the ring announcing Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona just went back to the WWE last Friday. So, like, you're getting these opportunities to showcase what you got as far as as hosting and announcing. And this is kind of where I say, like, it's a good pivot point, because to me, I always say how crucial everybody's job is. I said it at the top of the show. I haven't had many ring announcers on from the ring announcing perspective, period. So this is where I want to kind of dive in and just kind of pick your brain a little bit, because I never did the ring announcing aspect of it when I was in the industry and I was in the business. I was always a talent. I was always an in-ring. I was an in-ring worker, but I knew really good announcers. What is it like when I say what is it like, man, I'm just going to sound generic, but just for the sake of those who are watching and are joining us, and the perspective of a ring announcer, when you walk through that curtain, like, you are the 99% of the time, you're the first person that's walking through the curtain, because you got to get the show going. So walk me through a show day for you, like when it's go time, right? And just the levels of things that are running through your head as you're trying to get the show off the ground. Any show, it could be anything in particular, but just right. Your perspective of it.
So I wanted to start off with this. I'm a terrible actor. All right, I can't act. So when I'm in the ring, I better be as me as possible. I better be as real and as genuine as possible. I try to speak to the people the way I speak to anyone else. Because maybe not like anyone else, obviously, because I gotta be very, very poised and polished and professional. But I try to be me. I don't put on a face. Mm-hmm. At least not too much of a face anyway, because like I said, I'm a terrible actor. So when I'm going out there, I'm thinking, all right, I don't know all these people, but I want to know these people. I want them to know me. I'm going to go out there and make 300 new friends. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out there and make 300 new friends by saying hi and just, being the relatable guy that they can get along with. Because that's ultimately one of the goals of the ring announcer. You need to be friendly and relatable. All right, you can't be... you can't be a heel ring announcer. That's just maybe for like a one-off joke thing, right? But that's not sustainable. A heel, like a really heel ring announcer. And why do I say that? Because the announcer is essentially a guide. It's a narrator. With wrestling, you have the characters, the wrestlers. They're the ones who are acting the narrative out. You have the commentators. They're walking alongside you through the journey of the narrative, and they're telling you all about it, like the tour guides. okay, through this circus that is wrestling. And the announcer is the guide. He's the narrator of the story. He brings you from point A to point B. And maybe not brings you there. That's more the commentator's job. But he's there at point A, and he's there at point B, and point C, point D, and so on and so forth until the very end, telling you what you're going to see next. And it is through the announcer that you're supposed to understand the next step. So that's why it's important to be, a friendly, polished person. And that could take form in many different ways. But you have to keep a smile on. You have to be pretty much you have to be just a relatable person, at least a sympathetic, relatable person. So I've heard about announcers who don't take that approach, and it bothers me because it's like you don't want heat. You don't want heat with the fans. You're the announcer. You don't want that. I mean, you're supposed to be the person who leads them into the next scene. And how are they going to do that if they're blinded by your by your arrogance or your ego or whatever heel quality it is that you possess? Like I said, you're supposed to be the announcer. You're supposed to be the host, not the bad guy. Right, the bad guy, leave that job for the workers. Mm-hmm. They're the characters. All right, even the commentators, to a certain extent, they can be the characters. Right, the announcer is a very, very simple, very condensed job, and in that condensed moment in the ring, whenever you're making an introduction or an announcement, you need to keep it professional. Right, so. That's why I'm for the most part I'm against wrestlers being characters, but there are exceptions to that.
I think that it's wild we're having this conversation, and it's just a little over a year, to be fair, like that you've been doing this, and just how far you've come, and to be fair, like this is it makes me smile. Because I've said it for the last year that the younger generation is where our focus is and where it should be, and then everybody say, "Well, why?" And well, these are the guys and gals that are going to be out there for the next several decades, that'll be leading the charge of professional wrestling. So if we don't invest in them now, then excuse me, but why the fuck are we here? You know what I mean?
I totally agree.
Kind of where I'm at with it, and you mentioned so many moments, and I'm just kind of interested with the run that you've had so far. And like I said, it's only been a year. You've had some really good moments. What are some of those for you? Let's talk Atomic specific first, and then we'll pivot to the HOC for a little bit. But I'm kind of curious to know, I can only imagine, right? Like from your perspective, here you are 3 years ago, thinking this is not for me. 2 years ago, this is not
barely even 2 years ago.
This is not.
You haven't even hit 2 years yet. Yeah,
and fast forward nearly 2 years later, again, you just introed Matt Cardona not too long ago.
So I will correct you there. So with that match in particular, there were two announcers at that show. Alex Red, in his infinite wisdom, he wanted to do two announcers, which I respect. So I took half of the matches, and Promo Pete Lynch, my guy, one of my favorite people in the world, he took the other half. But with that final match, because there were 9 matches on the card, I believe, we split that match. He introduced Cardona, I introduced Nemeth. It's still pretty cool, right? I got to introduce Nick Nemeth.
Yeah, you're in the ring with all of them.
It was cool because he's sitting there, standing there with his belt with a microphone, cussing out Daytona Beach, and I'm just standing there like, oh my god, what is happening? And that was a cool moment. I wasn't trying to mark out too hard, and I didn't in the ring. Obviously, I was keeping it, polished and professional. But internally, I was like, this is pretty cool.
It's a moment.
Like I watched this guy on TV 10 years ago. Same thing with Nemeth. I watch him on TV now. It's just cool.
What are some of your other moments
like, it's a cool thing
that stand out to you?
Some of my moments. Well, one, maybe this is recency bias, but one moment in particular that I know I'll never forget was when I won the hardcore title. Now, you remember I said earlier I don't like it when announcers are characters, and I said that there were exceptions to that. Here's one exception. A little one-off thing can be something like this. It was a Purge Scramble match. Tony DeVito, unfortunately, he has a medical emergency that forced his retirement, and so he gave up the title in the ring, and that led into a Purge Scramble match where anyone can go and win the Hardcore Championship, and I was one of those people, and so for about a minute and a half, I was the Hardcore Champion, and I gotta say that was one of the moments that I even though it happened like 2 weeks ago, not even that, it is extremely memorable, and that's one that I will cherish. That's a memory that I will absolutely cherish for years to come. And even if we look farther back, I think at ALW, my first show, I recorded this video with Kurt Angle. And keep in mind, I was barely an announcer at that point. I was barely anybody. This is last February. And I go up to him. I'm trying to be as cool as possible. I was like, hey, mind if we do something for my social media? And I'm realizing now, like, that probably wasn't the right way to go about things. I probably wouldn't have done it this way now. But I just you propose this idea, like, hey, can I introduce you the way I would, a wrestler for a singles match for this video for social media? And it's like, and he said, okay. Meanwhile, I'm speaking to the greatest wrestler of all time, arguably. I'm speaking to one of the best ever, and just talking to him casually, like, hey, mind if I record this video with you? And he was cool with it. He did it. So that was, at the time, one of the coolest things I had ever actually done, was record that one little video, which you can go find on my Instagram right now, with the legendary Kurt Angle. That was just a really, really, really cool moment. And then the same day I met Kevin Nash too. Like, what was happening? That was so bizarre. Such a crazy day. Like I said, there's so many memories. I could go on and on and on and on and on. But those are just a couple that come off the top of my head.
You mentioned Angle, so I will see your angle and I will raise you my angle. I got to meet Kurt in 1999, and it was
year.
Maybe it was 2000. When did they have the 6-pack Hell in a Cell? He was the champ. That was 99 or 2000. I feel like it.
I want to say 2001, but that
could have been maybe it was 2001. I'm not 100%. That was the day. Like, I was on the indie scene at that point. I showed up as a fan, and I met him in the park, like outside of the parking lot. He took time with everybody. He's a heel. And he's a champ at that time. Took time to fucking talk to everybody, to shake everybody's hand, to make sure everybody got a picture. And of course, when kayfabe, we need to. But it was just great. He was an awesome dude, and it was one of the reasons why I continued to move forward at that time in my career, because he was just instrumental. And I saw the match, I saw it live, and I was one of the only guys that said, as a matter of fact, same show, I had made a sign that said, "Angle is my hero. It's true." And the Dudley Boys.
It's damn true.
This was before he did that. This is before the it's damned. I think.
Okay. But before
it's true. It's true. It was before it's damn true. The Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray, grabbed my sign and freaking almost ripped it. Like, because he grabbed it, he read it, he saw that Kurt signed it, and he was outside, and I was like, please don't. I was like, please don't do this to me. Please don't do it. Didn't rip the song.
Be a homie. Be a homie, dude. Come on, don't do this. I like that. I like that.
Didn't rip it. He gave it back to me. But it was just, it's interesting because, like, again, like it's 6 degrees of separation to a degree. Within professional wrestling, everybody's just separated by 6 degrees. Kurt Angle.
Honestly, six degrees is a little bit much when it comes to wrestling. What I've gathered is that with wrestling, it's more like 3.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you're involved in wrestling at a very basic level, like very very basic, maybe 4. Like you're probably separated to Vince McMahon by 4 degrees, considering how many people know each other and how few people are in wrestling. Of course, it's probably 4 degrees at a very basic level, but like me and some of the people I look up to, we're probably separated by like 2 degrees. We probably have a mutual friend. I don't even know, just because wrestling is such a small world.
Well, let me ask you this, because over in chat, I feel like this is a dumb question from you, Goth, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
It's okay, Goth.
I'm assuming that he's saying who is your Goth is from the Netherlands, so he has to process 2 different languages. So to be fair,
respect. Yeah.
Who is your? I'm assuming that's host, and why is it the Fink? And I'm assuming he's talking about, like, when I said host is in your ring announcers. Who is yours, and why is it the Fink?
My favorite is Justin Roberts.
Yes, sir.
I personally believe that he and this some may consider this a controversial take. I don't know why. I think he is the greatest wrestling announcer to step foot in the squared circle. I think he is the best ever. And I say that on terms of skill, raw skill. I'm talking about his charisma, his timing, his polished look. He is the full package in ways that no one else really is. And I have a lot of respect for him, especially after reading his book. A ton of respect for him, just learning his journey. And honestly, I consider him a like an unofficial mentor of mine. Not because we've never spoken. Well, we have once before, he and I, but it wasn't about announcing. And after reading his book, and listening to podcasts with him, and following him online and seeing all the things that he has to say, I've learned so much about this industry through him, and that's why I say he's in a way a mentor of mine. That's just my personal way of looking at it. But as a fan, he's such a polished and well-rounded announcer. A well-rounded announcer, and that's why he's my favorite. All that into one. That is.
So he's the GOAT, essentially. He is
the GOAT. He is the GOAT.
Okay.
Hands down, 100%.
All right, Goth, we got you.
People will disagree with me, but it's okay.
Well, I think it's open to perception and interpretation, just like anything else is. Of
course it is.
I think it's hard for me to, if I was to sit back and say, like, who's the greatest ring announcer of all time? All right, I've seen and I've heard so many, and like there's so many people that come to mind. For me, it's hard to just narrow it down to like who is the greatest, who are some of the best. Then I could go, yes, this would be like a list. But to say like who is the best ever, I can't do that. I don't know. Never being in that shoe and wearing those shoes and performing that job, like it's something different. It's easy for me to sit back and talk about it. It's something totally different from your perspective because you are living it every day.
That's exactly it. And like I couldn't tell you who is the best referee. I don't know. I don't think about that. It's just not in my.
Well, it's not
world.
fucking Earl Hebner. I know that.
Hey. yeah. You can say that again. It's not Earl Hebner. In fact, if anything, it's who's the blonde haired dude? I'm forgetting his name now.
Charles Robinson.
Something Robinson. Sorry,
Charles Robinson.
Charles Robinson. Yes. So it was a Robinson. Yeah, Charles Robinson. He's probably the best referee, but I wouldn't really know because I'm not a technical referee analyst. I don't know. I don't really think about that very much. Although I probably should because the referee is still a very crucial part of the story. It's just not my shoe. I don't wear it.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
Think about it. There's another name that's thrown out here when we talk about announcers, and this is JB from No Game Unturned. This is the name that popped in my head initially. It was Gary Michael Capetta. Because that's back in the older, because I was an old WCW guy. I grew up in Alabama, so that guy was Southern wrestling. Let's go. So Capetta was who I would see frequently.
Yeah, it's not really my style, not really my favorite by any means. But also I will say I've never really studied his work.
Facts. Well, again,
at least the way I have Tony Chimmel's and even Lillian Garcia's and certainly Justin Roberts. Even oh my gosh, here I am blanking on some of the announcers that I really love. But I've studied a lot of their work, and he's just not one of them.
No, well, JB, I feel you, buddy. I'm with you with Gary Capetta. I think he was pretty good, but that's me and my nostalgic old self.
Hey, maybe it'll give me something to think about. Maybe I should go see if he's ready.
You'll put it on. You'll put it on, and you'll be like, "Yeah, no, I was right. This isn't for me."
Well, yeah, like I said, I never really got that much of a sense for WCW aside from, oh man, and this is why I feel really bad. Probably the single greatest announcer ever, period, bar none. I'm not talking about Justin Roberts. I'm talking about the Let's Get Ready to Rumble guy.
Michael Buffer.
What's his name? Michael Buffer. Thank you, God.
But you talk about somebody
what's his brother's name?
I don't know the brother's name, but you talk about a dude that collected a paycheck in WCW for the easiest.
The
easiest deal of all time. You're gonna fly me in to just do this.
His brother. Yeah. His brother is Bruce Buffer.
Yes.
And they're both really good announcers, but Michael Buffer is the greatest ever, period. Michael Buffer, he's not a wrestling announcer. He was with WCW. He did great work. He did the Royal Rumble one year. He's a great announcer. The greatest ever, period, bar none. But I'm going to say this again, when it comes to wrestling announcers, I think Justin Roberts has taken the cake. I think he's taken that. He's taken that title, at least in my humble opinion. But Bruce Buffer, I've studied a lot of his work as well. Michael Buffer, studied plenty of his work. Watched a lot of boxing with him, and I got to say his ability to command a crowd is unmatched, totally unmatched. If you want to talk about good narrators, good guides, that man's voice, his presence, his character, obviously his catchphrase, "Let's get ready to rumble," it's iconic, and it catches people's attention. Like when that man speaks, the audience is listening. There's no one's doing this. It's people are locked in on him, and for good reason.
Well, I agree with you. I think Buffer is one of the, if not the greatest sports entertaining announcer of all time. But also, dude,
yes.
we have to acknowledge the fact that brother had a great spray tan. He had a fantastic camera ready. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. You ever watch UFC?
Yes. Yeah. I
yeah.
haven't in a hot minute, but I have. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where Bruce Buffer gets his work today, and that's why I say Bruce Buffer's great, but he's not my style. Just not my style. He's very screamy. He's very and the next guy. Blah 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 blah. Whatever it is, he screams so much, and he just raises his blood pressure. I'm sure so much, and it's just not for me. He's great, but it's just not my style.
Well, let me ask you this. When I really ask you this, let me pivot over here for a minute because we got a chance to come down to Legacy of Champions. Obviously, House of Champions was their biggest show, sold out. They sold 340 tickets to a student show.
Yeah.
Let me say that again. 340 tickets for a
mind-blowing
student
mind-blowing work.
I knew that I obviously that I was going to be there. I did not know that you were going to be doing the ring announcing, so it was a pleasant surprise for me to bump into you on the floor before the show and officially just say, hey man, introduce myself. I mean, obviously I know you knew who I was. I know who you are, but we never officially had hey man.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. I enjoy what you're doing. Definitely want to get you on. And at that point in time, I didn't have a live event schedule. I didn't have stuff that we were going to be really moving on until things happen quick in professional wrestling, just like they happen quick with me on this channel. But I was there, and from my perspective, you command the room. You commanded the room while you were in the ring. So you were the first guy that I saw walk out through the curtain once the show started. You carried things on. You moved things forward. And I'm going to tell you something that I told Keikoa. Your line before Big Boy Patty came out was freaking epic. And I don't know whose idea it was. I don't know if Patty came up to you and said, and if you guys keep saying you suck, he's going to slap all y'all. And I thought that it was great because it was like, and I quote, slap all y'all.
Yeah, I see. I really want. All right, so I really wanted to drive that one forward. All right, so here's what happened. Patty came up to me, and I have on my computer a database of everyone I've ever worked with. Matter of fact, you see all these cards here?
Yes.
See all these cards? I save every card that I have. I collect all the information from every match, every wrestler who I work with, every single one. Be them from House of Champions, Atomic Legacy Wrestling, local pro wrestling, whatever it is. I will take their information and I will put it into my database and I will save it. So I had Big Boy Patty's card information ready to go. I had his hometown, his weight, his nickname, and his name. Perfect. Done. And then I checked in with him, and he said, how about this? We're going to change all that. And I'm like, oh, damn it. and so he gives me this idea, and he says, I kind of want to get some heat today. So can you make an announcement that I'm gonna go beat up on some people if they keep on booing me or whatever, or chanting this and that. And I thought to myself, like, all right, how? This is the way I operate. Whenever somebody gives me an input, they give me a something to say, they'll give me something. And what I have to do is I have to take it. I like to think of it like a machine, right? Put the input into my brain, scramble it around until it sounds good, until it sounds good in my brain, and then output it onto the card, and that's what I read. And so when Patty gave me this concept to make that announcement, make that pre-match introduction, he gave me this loose idea about beating people up, and if they keep on chanting at him, and scramble it around for a second in the brain, and then boom on the piece of paper. The following competitor has asked me, or has paid me, to announce that if the audience continues to chant, Patty sucks, he will, and I quote, very important line there, individually slap all y'all.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, like, this sounds really, really, really good. Like, there's build-up. There's a build-up, and like the audience doesn't really know what's going to be said until, boom, it's said. And that is the introduction. And I thought, like, this is perfect. This is perfect.
So here's what made that really on point. And you just take it from somebody in the audience. If you didn't build it and deliver it that way, and deliver it the way that you did, The moment that music hit and he walked out, do you think they would have all been chanting, "You suck"? And I was sitting on the floor. I was sitting at the entryway. I was able to hear the crowd and hear from that perspective. It was loud. They went crazy for it. So, kudos to both of you for number one taking the chance, because according to Coach K, he didn't know that was the thing, and I was like, well, it worked, and he was like, I know.
Yeah. I that honestly, I thought that Kikoa knew about it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought that he knew, so I probably wouldn't have done it if I didn't think that I had his permission. Because I like to go by the rules here. But yeah. So with that introduction, I knew what I was doing, right? I'm like, I'm not seriously asking them. I'm not seriously telling them to not boo him. I'm telling them to boo him. I'm telling them that blah 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 blah, and I'm leading up to, here's exactly what you have to say. Patty sucks. If the audience continues to say Patty sucks, you gotta isolate those words so that it sticks out in the brain, right? So that it sticks out to people with their ears. That they hear that and they think, all right, Patty sucks, Patty sucks, Patty sucks, and then they hear individually slap all y'all. They're like, all right, I want to see that. Let's go. This guy sucks. So then they just start booing him. They just start booing him and saying you suck, saying Patty sucks, because that's what I told them to say.
It was well done. You really did I mean, you've always, every show that I've seen you on, whether it's been at the HRC or whether it's been on streams or, I mean, off streams. I do watch this. It's kind of embarrassing. I do 30 plus hours of streams a week, and then I watch another 10 or 15 hours of stuff off of a stream. Whether it's been on a stream or whether it's been on YouTube, like, you've always done a really good job. Always.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
And it shows. And this is where I take it from a guy. I always say I'm nobody, dude. Like, I just happen to have a platform that people tend to gravitate towards because we do independent wrestling all over the world. Take it from a guy who has watched a lot of independent wrestling all over the world, who has seen shows on every major continent, or every continent, because every continent is major, every continent, and hundreds of companies. There are only a handful of ring announcers that stand out in any form or fashion. And I'm not saying this because you're here. I'm not saying it to gas you up by any means, but you are one of them. You stand out in a crowd, which means that if you continue doing what you're doing, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And what people fail to understand about professional wrestling, several things. One is it's very time consuming. It eats up a lot of your personal time. It eats up a lot of your professional time. It eats up a lot of things that family, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, what the fuck ever you're doing. It eats up whoever you are. It eats up a lot of time. But the second piece of this, and the most critical piece, is only 2% of people who get into professional wrestling as professional wrestlers make it. That is drastically cut for ring announcers, because there's really only room for one or two per major promotion, and you only have a handful of those to play with.
Yeah.
So when I say if you continue what you're doing, it's not a matter if, it'll be a matter of when. I mean that. That is legit, and that's from somebody who watches a shitload of fucking wrestling, dude.
I appreciate you saying that, and I've thought a lot about that, and I don't know when that opportunity is going to come. I don't know who it's going to be with. I don't know where. Don't know when. Don't know what. I don't know. But I believe that there is a much larger plan in play here. I'm a faithful Christian. I believe in, I certainly believe in God, and I think that He has a plan for me with this, and not because it's just something that I'm good at. No, it's because like I said, I was born with this natural, with this natural order to go and be in front of people, to go and speak to people, and certainly to entertain people. I've always been that kind of guy. I've always had that natural inclination. And so I wonder why I was born with that with that inherent desire to go and entertain people. And I think I think there's something in plan for. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna pretend that I know these things. I've had no premonitions, but there's something in store.
I feel it's funny that you say that. So I don't talk a lot of religion and I don't talk a lot of politics. That's just it's not a me. Everybody has their own thing, and that's just not a me thing. So I just don't talk about it. But what I will talk about is that I do feel like at some point in time, we're all here for a reason. So I had I've had 3 near-death experiences in my life, and all of them were self-induced in some form or fashion. Like, I tell people I fell into the dark side of professional wrestling. That's why I got out of it. And I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm not afraid to talk about it, because everything that I went through and everything that I did it myself. I have owned that. I have put that behind me, but I don't forget. And everything that I went through made me who I am today. And who I am today was a guy who up until about a year ago didn't know why he was still here, because I shouldn't be. And then it hit me, and it was with this platform. So when you say that, like, you feel like there is a bigger plan for you, I can resonate with that, because I shouldn't be sitting here now 3 times over, but I am. And I didn't realize until the platform started really doing what I wanted it to do initially, which was bring people together. This is what we're here. Professional wrestling brings people together. Mm-hmm. And now we've been able to do that. And not only do that, now we have an opportunity to give back. Now we have an opportunity after 2.5 years of building this audience, give back with live events. Give back to not only our audience, but the talent like you, talent like Baracco, talent like from out in California, J2 Mattioli, the Devious Cassis from New Jersey. Like, we have this opportunity, and it's because of the platform. That's why I was here and why I'm here. My vision for what I'm doing isn't necessarily, focusing on how do I become this major. I'm not interested in that. What I am interested in is where our channel started, and the roots of our channel have always been finding those hidden gems that you never would know about, and using our platform to spotlight them. Because
I respect
that you guys are the name of the game. And now I say that because, I have an opportunity for you that I want to talk to you about. We haven't talked about it outside of, hey, there's I want to figure something out, and we will. And if you can do this, that's fine. If you can't, hey, we're going to make something happen anyway. I'm going to give you. I got a date in January, March, April, May in Orlando. It's a collaboration show with a company out of New York. It's called One Division Pro. They're coming down, and I think. Let me pull my calendar up real quick, brother. I think that it is. I'm so sorry. I should have this information in front of me. January, February, March, April, May.
It's okay.
I believe it's May 16th. I believe.
Let me take a look at my calendar here.
I am 99% sure it's May 16th.
I'll be done with school by then, and I doubt I'll be doing anything on that particular Saturday.
Oh, you know what?
So I'll mark it on my calendar right now. That's what
Hold on.
I'm gonna do.
Everybody's gonna see information that they probably don't need to see, but they're gonna see it anyway.
That's
collab show 1DP.
Okay.
Let me pull up that budget real quick. I don't have the show date on here, motherfucker. I feel like it is the 16th. I totally feel like it is. That is the day that we talked about. And if it's not, I will get with you as soon as we get off the air, and get it confirmed with you. But I do I need a ring announcer, and that's a great platform to showcase you, and not only showcase you.
Of course, man.
I'm gonna probably be a situation where I have you and De La Rosa, because I'm working with. You familiar with De La Rosa?
Yeah. We've met before.
So like I may have her in as well, and you guys just alternate it out. But it's an opportunity to put you in a situation with another company that does traveling, and that they'll. I think it's a big opportunity, and then we can definitely do some stuff here down the line, 100%. But I want to be attached, and I want you attached to a project.
I appreciate that a lot, and I'd be more than willing to work with you on whatever projects you got for me. Just let me know. Just give me the date, and that goes to anyone else who's listening. If you have a date for me that you may want to book a polished professional ring announcer for, let me know. Hit me up. Matthew Scott Lloyd on Instagram.
It's right there. It's on the screen. It's right underneath him. It's been there.
Perfect. I can't see it.
No, but I got you. I got you covered.
Somewhere down below.
That's right.
Somewhere down below, or on the side, or wherever.
So yeah, it is May 16th. Thank you, Paul, over on Twitch. It is indeed May 16th. So I will lock you down for that, and we can start there and then start working forward, because I'd love to put you in front of as many people as I can put you in front of. And just see.
I appreciate that a lot, man. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I believe in you, dude. I believe in what you're doing. I think that I think it needs to be seen. And those hidden gems don't just go to in-ring talent. They go to ring announcers. It goes to people who are out there fucking busting your ass, and that's what y'all are doing. So that's what our platform's here for. Speaking of 2026, and I know that you had a great 2025. We'll ask you this question, and we'll start winding things down. What are some of the things that you want to accomplish in 2026? What's on your radar? What's on your bucket list, if you will?
Let's open up my notes app, where I actually wrote it all down the other day. So I mean, this is you're about to get a glimpse of my personal life as well as my professional life. But here's the 2026 goals: 8 minutes or less. Half marathon pace. You familiar with the half marathon?
Yes, vaguely.
Yeah, 13.1 miles.
Yes.
I did one in 2025, and I got an 8:25 pace. I believe.
Saw that.
I want to get that to 8 minutes or less. That's the goal pace. This is a little bit dumb here. 225 bench for at least one. I gotta hit that in 2026. Gotta finally get to that 225 bench.
I hear you. There's nothing dumb about that. This is a goal.
Part of my financial goals is to finally own some property. I've been saving up a lot of money, doing a lot of investing in the last year, and I'm ready to take that next step. So either land or a home for myself. I'm ready to go. So that's one of the goals. 4.0 GPA each semester. There's just a school thing. I'm majoring in engineering, so it's kind of challenging.
That's impressive. If you pull that, dude, that's impressive.
Hey, I pulled it last semester. I feel pretty good about that.
Then there's no reason why you can't do it this semester. Repeat. Go back to
exactly.
back, baby. Go
back
to back.
That's right. We're gonna run it back. Anyway. So read one book per month at a minimum. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Read one book per month. Well, by the way, speaking of books, this is just a quick side note. Want to plug one of my favorite wrestlers, Ryzen, who wrote this book. See Rob Kimball there. Who wrote this book called In Demand Indie. If you are a wrestling professional and you would like to take wrestling seriously, this is the book for you. Seriously, it is a play-by-play guide on how to succeed in the independent wrestling world, and hopefully get yourself to a higher level. I've been reading it for the past couple days. I've been pretty busy since it's been my birthday, but there is a gold mine in that book. So definitely take a look. That will be one of my books. That will be one of my books this year. Finally, we've reached my announcing goals. I want to announce at a large event with 1,000+ fans. That's one of my goals.
Okay.
A large event. I don't know what that means. That could be ALW's return to the Ocean Center, where in 2025 we hosted a crowd of 1,500 people. That could be the RP Funding Center with ALW, where we're going to be hosting a number of people. I don't even know how many people there are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But this is going to be, these are two big opportunities to do a large show. But we'll see what other opportunities arise. I plan on working 40 shows at the minimum. 40 shows at the minimum. So I did 30 in 2025. That is a 33.3% increase from 30 shows. 30 to 40, that's a third. So that would be a pretty big increase in volume in terms of shows. So
I think we can help you with a couple of those.
One of the goals. Hey, maybe you can. Maybe you can. It's been pretty good so far. I mean, I've gotten. Oh my God, I've gotten 2 shows. 2 shows already this month. What is happening? 2 shows, and there's going to be a third one this Saturday. So we're already doing pretty good.
Where are they at? If you don't mind me asking.
This is the. Are you talking about the show that I'm doing on Saturday?
Yeah. That you're doing the. Are you doing the HOC?
The ID showcase. Yes, I'll be there. So hey, and hang on. I won't be the announcer. Likely.
Doesn't matter.
We'll see. They have an announcer.
Doesn't matter.
WWN. They're the producers. They have an announcer. They're taking care of all that.
You'll be there.
But I hit up the wonderful people at the HOC. They told me to talk to a few guys. I talked to another one of my favorite people in wrestling, whose name is Trevin, one of the producers at WWN. Great guy. And he said that there might be some room for me. There might be some roles for me that make sense. So the likelihood is I'll be conducting interviews. Funny thing, I actually just recently got a new suit for that. I'm not going to show it off right now because I want it to be a surprise.
Nope.
I did indeed get a new suit for that. So it's going to be a great day.
You know, here's the thing. It's getting the opportunity. It is the opportunity. It's in the room. I mean, Gabe Sapolsky's going to be there. We all know this. It's going to be in the room, and in the room with influential people that, you know, whether they're familiar with you or they're not familiar with you. And even if you get the opportunity to cut interviews that they may not even see the light of day, but he will be there and he will get to see you. That's invaluable. Period. Yeah. Hands down.
100%. I agree. And that's why I'm very excited for this event. Not only because it's a great place. I love the House of Champions. Not only because it's a great show with a lot of big talent, but there are opportunities there that I will not be getting anywhere else. Period.
Facts. Yeah.
So, finally, my last goal is to finally make my out-of-state debut. I've never announced outside of Florida. Never done a show outside of Florida.
Okay.
So we are looking to change that finally.
Okay. I know a couple people.
Hey, so. maybe. Hey, if you know anyone in Georgia or anything, I'm open. Georgia's not that far. So yeah, I'm looking to do it. We're gonna see what we can do, but I'm expecting a lot of good things in 2026. I'll just put it that way.
Let me ask you this, and this will be the last question. I know I said that a second ago, but I think that this one does ring true because I ask a lot of the guys and a lot of the girls that come in. I ask this question, and again, we cast a wide net. What are some companies that you do want to work for? Like if you have the opportunity, I can't, obviously I can't do anything with the WWE. I can't do anything with AEW. Can't do anything with TNA. But I can on the independent scene. Like we have a lot of really cool friends, and I don't ever tell people like companies that I'm affiliated with or not affiliated with that I haven't announced and all this other stuff, just because I don't want to influence anything. But what are some companies you on the indie scene out there specifically that if you could get an opportunity?
Major League Wrestling. Okay. That would be easily the number one. I love and admire Major League Wrestling. I love and admire GCW, although I'll admit that's not really my style. They're a lot more geared towards death matches, a lot more geared towards hardcore stuff. They have an announcer who fits that role perfectly. So, CW's not really for me, but MLW is a lot more up my alley, and so I'd love to get a potential opportunity with them one day. There are some smaller promotions whose names I can't exactly remember right now. There was one actually. I'll look them up right now since I've got it on my mind. Out there in the Atlanta area, that I really thought was something. Here we go. It's 1FW.
Okay.
And they do events outside of McDonough, Georgia. And I gotta say, they look like they have great shows. I'm looking at some of their cards right now. I'm seeing a lot of names I recognize, folks from AEW. I'm looking here at QT Marshall, Billy Gunn, the big, I'm forgetting his name, the big tall Middle Eastern gentleman. You know
Satnam Singh.
Satnam Singh. Yep, that's him. So yeah, just at 1FW. It would be one that I've had my eye on for a little bit out there in Georgia. And there are others whose names I'm forgetting right now that are in New England and in California. Two totally separate areas. But if I remember those names, I'll let you know.
Yes, please do. Have friends in California. Lots of friends in California, actually. Lots of.
But hey, if you know anyone, if you're looking for an announcer, I'm ready. I'm ready to spread my wings and travel outside of Florida to go and and spread the love. I'm ready to spread the love throughout wrestling, throughout the whole wrestling world. So if you know anyone, let me know.
Well, that's just
let them know about me.
I know a lot of people, and I know there have been a lot of people who have come to me that said, "Hey, we're going to be in such and such area. Do you know anyone within this radius?" And yeah, it happens frequently. And yes, when it does happen, I'll say, "Hey, you should probably hit up this guy right here because I know that he wants to travel." And that's the thing about, like, with our live events that are outside of Florida. Like, I know that there are a lot of people who want to travel. Everybody wants to travel, but realistically, I can only take so many people per trip. But when I do, and when I am, like, I have a list of people who want to travel, and I will. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something, and I will put you out there with us on a show. I don't know which one, I don't know when, but I'll get with you on how we do that and what that looks like, and what we're able to do and what we're not able to do. But it if it works, it works. If you don't get out of state before the end of the year, you'll get out of state. I've got 5 or 6 shows that are out of state, and I know that I can get you on one of them. It's not a problem. And it also will put you in the room with other people who run shows or run promotions and book shows or book a couple of different promotions. Like, that's the name of the game right now, is to put all you guys that want to do this and get out there and do this in rooms together so that you can make those connections. And on the backside of that, if they're on one of my shows, then I've already vetted them. I already know them. I already know the company. I know that they're reputable, or at least with me, they have been very upfront and reputable. I haven't had anybody that we've ever dealt with or had any kind of associations with go south company-wise over anything stupid. So, that's the name of the game, brother. And that's why we're here. And that's why I'm so glad that we were able to sit down and have this conversation. At least getting the ball.
I appreciate that, man. Like I said, I'm ready. I'm ready for the rubber to meet the road. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to go balls to the wall. So 2026, I'm going hard. And if you are too, then I hope we can do it together. I'm hoping that we can do this whole crazy dream chasing thing side by side this year.
It's funny you said crazy dream. It's my ADHD. It's what it is, because I just start thinking about things, and then when you say something, it makes me think about something that I said earlier today to a guy named Dallas Dash. I sent him a text, and I was like, "Can you believe that we're about to do this?" And he said, "What are you about to do? What?" I said, "We're about to do a fucking tour. Like, that's what's about to happen."
Doesn't that blow your mind? Doesn't chasing the dream feel good, right?
It does,
especially when no one else does. When no one else is chasing the dream and you're living the dreams of so many people, it feels pretty good.
I put a post out yesterday I got the belt. The belt came in yesterday.
Nice.
So
I think I saw it, the World Championship belt, right?
it is, and that
It
motherfucker's
looked
heavy.
beautiful.
It's heavy.
Yeah, it looked like it had a lot of plates on it. Yeah.
But I got a lot of different DMs today from a lot of our friends internationally and companies and in here domestically as well about that. And it was like, they were like, actually one of the companies was like, man, I wish that we could have put money into our belt like that. And I'm like, well, realistically, you are what your product is. So like, it's not a knock on anybody whatsoever, but I'm not going to buy a belt from Chody Smack. I'm not. If I'm going to put something out there that is going to be representative of my company, is it the most expensive belt? Fuck no. It's probably low end on the expensive side, but it was still expensive. It was still, for me, it was. But yeah, but to see so many people say like, I want to wear that, and then be hit up privately by so many people internationally, companies too, not just talent. Can we work something out? Are you interested in? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. All right, so this is funny that you say that, because I was thinking about this earlier. I've always said that my job is in two parts. I have to look good and I have to speak well. In that order. I have to look good first. I have to look the part first, because no matter what, even if I'm a very talented announcer and have a great voice, I have my timing really well, psychology really well, I do all that. Yeah. If I don't look good, if I don't have a polished look, and I don't have a good suit that I've clearly put the money in, if I don't show that I give a shit about my outfit, at the very least, I'm not gonna go anywhere. I'm not gonna go anywhere if I just look like any old person. That's why I have to wear a suit. That's why if you want your champion to really look like a Greek god, like you really want him to look like a Roman champion, then give him the kind of gold that champion would really wear. Meaning, don't give him some fool's gold, bullshit. Give him something to be proud of. And that belt that you got, I saw it. It was beautiful. And I'd be damn proud of that if I were you.
I am, brother. I'm looking forward to it. I think that professional wrestling is. I don't know if wrestling is ready for what I'm about to bring to the table, or try to, because for me, I'm tired of opportunity not being there for everybody. And what I mean by that, and I don't mean that negatively, but what I mean by that is, the game is not skewed in the favor of everybody. So how can I benefit and help benefit someone else to get them where they want to go? Because sometimes you just got to be in front of the right audience. You never know who is in the crowd. You never know who is watching. You don't know who has ties to who. Here, case in point, the first show that we did, there was a social influencer there that I didn't even know. I had no idea that they were there. They started streaming a piece of our event, and all of a sudden, within 40 minutes, my YouTube platform's monetized.
Hey, what do you know about that? That's interesting.
I was like, wait a minute. I knew I needed like 20 or 30 people. But within 40 minutes of the show starting, it's monetized. You don't ever know. So that's how we help. That's how I can help everybody, and that's what I feel like the next level for us is, and to to be that bridge,
It's funny that you say that, because I actually had a close call with something like that the other day, or not the other day. It was at Legacy. You ever heard of the Young Professor?
Mm-mm.
He is one of the most in-demand, high tier, high energy, high quality announcers in entertainment and in sports today. And he'd probably be able to agree with that at least a little bit. He's not that he's like super arrogant or anything, but he would agree, like he is in demand. It's pretty clear. He actually just recently did this big NHL game that they did inside a baseball stadium. How do you even do an NHL game inside of a baseball stadium? I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is, I greatly admire him and his work. He's someone else who I've studied quite a bit. You've heard of the Savannah Bananas?
Mm-hmm.
He is their announcer.
Okay.
He is their announcer. And so he's really good. And it would mean a lot for me if he were to notice my work, because he's someone who I greatly admire. And I'd love to get his feedback. I'd love to get his thoughts. I'd love to connect with him. At the end of Legacy of Champions, I was talking to Chris Viso, the production director. You know Chris, yes. I was talking to him, and he said, "Hey, Matt Lloyd, did you know that the young professor was going to be here?" And then he didn't show up, and I stood there for a second. I thought, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? One of the most iconic announcers in sports today was going to be at this event watching me host. What are you talking about? And I would have had no idea if he was there. I would have had no clue. No clue. Because how many faces do you think I could point out at a show, right? Like, how many faces in the 300 some odd person crowd? How many of them am I going to be like, "Oh, hey, I see your face, I recognize you"? I wouldn't have known if he was there. I would have just been able to. I would have just had to just go through with it and just do the thing just like I did, without the knowledge that a highly important announcer is watching me. That so it is moments like that, and I say this because, like you said, you don't know who's going to be in that audience. I certainly wouldn't have known if Matt Grafer, the young professor, was in that audience, or if Justin Roberts or Tony Chimmel or Michael Buffer, or if any great announcer was in that audience. I wouldn't have known. But I would have had to just go and do the thing anyway, because that's just part of the job. Whatever audience you're in front of, you got to do the job. You can't half-ass it. You can't get nervous because someone you like is watching you. You have to just do the thing. Because if you don't do the thing the way that you would, in front of any audience, then, how's this person who might be able to elevate your career, how are they supposed to help you? They can't if they see you, putting on a nervous front because of, such so-and-so. They can't. Mm-hmm. So that's just part of the part of the goal is being, as like I said earlier at the beginning, as authentically you as possible. When you're in the ring, be authentically you. Don't be the nervous. Don't be the don't try to put on a front, put on a face for a certain person. Just be you. Just do your thing and do it as best as you can. And that's been my philosophy since day one. It's just do me and do it as good as I can.
Well, we're going to be paying real close attention, brother, because you're going to be doing some pretty big things moving forward. I appreciate
you saying that.
No, I appreciate you giving me the time this evening that we've had. I know it was a later show for us, but we made the accommodations, and you said, "Hey, man, and I said, "You go do it," because I knew that with this conversation was going to be really good. And I hope that we can definitely line you up to come back on the show down the line. And I do know that we're going to talk as soon as we go off the air so we can line up some things and make some things happen too. But is there anything that you want to talk about? Is there anything you want to say to the people before we get ready to close it out?
I got one thing. Hang on. I'm gonna plug my next show.
Yes, plug away.
I don't know if that's a little. All right, good. So here, I did the same exercise at my last ALW show. So here we go. See this poster here? Mm-hmm. This is the poster for ALW's next event, the Pinnacle. This is the 9-year anniversary event for ALW. 9 years of ALW, isn't that crazy?
That's nuts.
And as you can see on here, I mean, this is a pretty crazy poster. I mean, sure, if you just look at the crowd here, you can see some people who you recognize. You got Shotzi right there in the middle.
Yep.
You have the Good Brothers, America's Most Wanted. A list of others. Here's Victoria Crawford. Do you remember her from WWE?
Mm-hmm.
That's a sight. Anyway, and of course on the front, Raven. What's he doing here? He's going to be doing a meet and greet and a very rare appearance at this event. So that's going to be a good time. And I'm just gonna throw this out here for all you Chris Page fans. All right, use the code New Year for not 15% off, which I originally thought was the percentage, but 20% off of your ticket purchases for ALW's next event on January 31st, actually,
right.
Which is your next event, right?
It is. It's on the 31st as well.
Hey, but here's the thing. Here's the kicker. This is in Melbourne, so we're not going to be taking any of your Orlando-based audience members.
Even if you were, I don't give a shit. I don't do tribalism, brother. I just need people to go see professional wrestling. I don't care where it is. I need for people to get out and go support the indies. I don't care what company it is. Go support.
Well, hey, man, this is wrestling, and what you're doing, that's wrestling. And if you're watching at home and you think this interests you, go ahead. You know what? Use the code. Use the code New Year at the Eventbrite checkout. And if you don't, you want to go see Chris Page's show as well, or if you want to see that even more, go for it because it's going to be awesome either way. You're going to have a great time either way because this is wrestling and it's what we love to do.
It
is, what we love to do.
It is,
so
brother.
Let's just do wrestling.
I've had a blast. I cannot wait to see what happens with your 2026 and beyond. To be perfectly fair. For ladies and gentlemen, the easiest way that you can show your support is by sharing, and subscribing. It costs you nothing, and it's been on the screen the entire show for Matthew. It's Matthew Scott Lloyd over on Instagram. It's super simple. All you have to do is go there and hit the follow. Stay in tune with what he has going on, and if you're a friend of our channel, if you're an affiliate of our channel, and you are traveling or you need a ring announcer, I can say unequivocally that this is a gentleman that you should hit up. You should definitely reach out to. And if you can't reach out to him, reach out to me. I will definitely introduce you. It is not complicated at all. Mr. Lloyd, I look forward to chatting with you again soon. For our guest tonight,
of course.
I'll watching across all of our platforms over on X, over on Instagram. We'll be back on YouTube, I promise. We couldn't do this without each and every one of you as well. So I thank you all for joining us this evening. And this is where I say on behalf of Mr. Lloyd, we will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.